2 weeks ago, I did an efficiency test on the Nike Alphafly 3 and the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. Well, this week, it's the turn of the Saucony Endorphin ELITE. And out of that testing showed that the Nike Alphafly 3 was just a little bit more efficient, but over the last couple of weeks I have managed to race in both of those shoes, and it definitely concluded that I much preferred the Alphafly version 3. However, the Saucony Endorphin ELITE is my favourite racing shoe of all time. It pips the Vaporfly version 1, which was my previous favourite. This one is absolutely the number one for me. So I thought today I could sit down, do a test, and then come back here and show you guys how we got on. However, spoiler alert, things didn't quite go to plan. So good morning and welcome back to another shoe testing video. If you saw last week's, or was it the week before, where I was testing the Endorphin Pro 4 and the Alphafly 3, I have something very similar today. In fact, it's the same workout that I'm going to be doing with these two shoes. And what are these two shoes? The Saucony Endorphin ELITE and the Alphafly 3. So if you see my recent video where I talked about the Pro 4 and the Alphafly 4, you would have known that I wasn't too fussed on the Pro 4 for racing, but I am really enjoying the Alphafly version 3. And so I pretty much said at the end of that video, I feel like I now have some really good racing shoe options, which are the Endorphin ELITE, the Alphafly 3 and the Vaporfly 1. Those are kind of my three shoes now. I feel like I have a good solid staple shoe rotation. And what's really interesting is these two shoes are very similar in terms of the geometry, the setup. So I want to test them. I want to do a bit of an efficiency test. I said last time this is kind of the best testing I can do that's not out of a lab, or it's as controlled as I can make it. So I've got 5x2K today. First 2 reps I'll do in the Endorphin ELITE, second 2 reps, 3 and 4 I'll do in the Alphafly, and then I'll probably swap back to the ELITE for rep 5, because on rep 1 your heart rate's just getting warmed up, you're just getting into it. So I'd like to compare two well into the workout reps with these two shoes. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to get this workout underway because I've got a busy day today, and yeah, excited to see if there are any differences between these two shoes or if they're as efficient as each other. All right, first rep magic done, 721. Felt really good. There we go, just finishing the second rep now. 724, let's find the shoes. Oh, they're back here. Rep 3 done, 721. It matched the ELITE, but oh my word, we've lost heart rate. We've lost heart rate. It has, the monitor has died. So this has now become a what do I prefer test. Look at this, people. This is why you don't trust wrist data. Look in the top corner. I'm just coming up to a minute in, and apparently I'm at 180 heart rate. I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. I was looking forward to this, finding out what was better. Well, I know in my mind what I prefer, but I just wanted to test efficiency. So yeah, don't use wrist heart rate. There we go, fourth rep done, 725. All right, last shoe change. Not that there's any point. Heart rate finished at 182 then, apparently. One of the easiest workouts I've ever done. But hey, oh, I'm so mad at myself. Anyway, let's do number 5. So there we go. Shoe testing done. Gutted, if I'm honest with you. I'm so sorry. I'm apologising to you. I wanted to bring you something a little bit more precise, the bloody heart rate monitor. So the heart rate data is going to be absolutely perfect for the last 3 reps. So we'll have a look at pace, cadence, and I'll give you my thoughts on which one I prefer, because instantly in my mind there's a distinct difference in which one I do prefer. Both of them, however, are amazing. I would give these shoes a 9.5 and a 9 out of 10, but the 9.5 one is just, yeah, it's brilliant. So there we go, testing done, gutted with the heart rate monitor. So I did contemplate shelving it and re-recording it in a couple of weeks' time so I could get the data that I really wanted, because that's the kind of crucial bit for efficiency. But these are now pretty much at 100 miles and I do not want to use them. They've got limited life left in them for peak racing, and then they'll move to training. And there are a few more races that I do want to try and get done in these shoes. So what we'll do is we'll go through the data that I was able to get, but let me explain why I feel this is a bit of a better comparison than what we did with the Pro 4. And it comes down to the geometry of the shoe and the way it's set up. So we've got a mid-placed plate is the best way that I'm describing it, which is going to be the fact that the plate is placed midway between the upper part of the midsole and the bottom. So you can see here the plate swoops down and we've got the white foam below and the green foam above, and we've got a pretty much an equal amount of foam top and bottom. Very similar with the Alphafly, slightly more on the top in the Alphafly, but the plate sits above the AirPods, so we've got some good cushioning below and above. So we've got a very similar ride in terms of the way the plate is and kind of the efficiency of the shoe. That's why I really wanted to test these two out. It's not like the Pro 4 where the plate swoops very close low to the ground and we've got more foam at the top and very minimal below. Obviously very different feeling shoes. These two feel very similar in terms of the way they ride. The main difference being the fact that the AirPods, you really do notice them, but otherwise they are quite similar. So reps 1 and 2 were 555 and 557, and then 3 and 4 in the Alphaflys were 555 and 558. And if you notice, both those reps came out at 724, but my Garmin, my watch at the time, I think it rounds up, so I'll sometimes say whatever the time is flashes up on my screen, but when you dive into the app later, you'll see it might have been like a 74 low or a 74 high, and that's the difference between it being 557 and 558 per mile. And then the 5th rep when I swapped back into the Elites was 553 per mile. Now cadence for these shoes was equal across the board, 166 for 4 of the 5 reps and 167 for rep 2, which was in the Elite, but overall extremely equal. Stride length also matched up, 1.64 meters on the way out for rep 1, 1.62 on the way back for rep 2 in the Elites, and then exactly the same in the Alphaflys, 1.64 on the way out and 1.62 on the way back for the Alphaflys, and then 1.64 on the way out and back in the Elites for the 5th rep. In terms of heart rate data from the 2 reps that I was able to get, which was only the Elite, it was 152 average for the 1st rep with a max of 157, and then 157 average with a max of 160 for the 2nd rep. And then after that, as you saw, it all went absolutely crazy. I'll put the stats on screen so you can see anyway, but I'm not even going to bother reading them off because they just mean nothing, sadly. And I put the averages on screen here, and I think this thing that slightly skews the Elite's data is just that it had 3 reps and not 2, but otherwise that's why there are a couple of reoccurring numbers. But otherwise, as you can see across the board, everything is extremely equal. So really it comes down to preference. Which one did I prefer? Well, I think you guys know I'm going to choose the Elite here. This is my absolute favourite. It still is the greatest of all time for me. The Vaporfly really knocked everything out of the park with version 1, and I've really struggled to come close to finding anything that competes with it. But I found something and it just edges the Vaporfly for me, and if you've been a follower of the channel for a while, you'll know that this is my favourite shoe. I have, however, been really impressed with this update of the Alphafly. I know it's a lot of money, but for me, if I'm investing in a racing shoe, I've got to enjoy it, and I've got to know that I want to continue racing in it after doing some initial testing. It's exactly why I sent the Alphafly 2 back, because I did not like it in the slightest. The 3, however, is a really good update, and it's a fast shoe. It feels good. So it's nice to know that these two match up with all the other data there. However, it's just a case of, it's just a shame the heart rate wasn't there. But in terms of preference, I prefer the lighter package of what the Endorphin Elite gives me. And I've said it for years in terms of when I've been testing other shoes, I prefer the roll-through sensation to the sink and bounce that you get in the Alphaflys. And I've always found Zoom X to give more of a sink and bounce sensation anyway, and I've always preferred a shoe with a bit of a roll-through. The thing that the Vaporfly has the edge on is I just find it really aggressive, and when you're running really fast in it over the shorter distances, I find a little bit less sink and bounce and a little bit kind of more force as you go through. So that's why the Vaporflys really work for me. Such a good cruiser, really do enjoy it, but the Elite definitely gets the nod still. So really enjoyed testing those two shoes. As I said, once again, a big apology for the heart rate data. I'll make sure that doesn't happen in the next one. I'll be doing another double threshold workout next week or the week after. So if you've got any other shoes you want me to stack up against each other, please do drop a comment below. I'd be more than happy to check those out and give them a test and bring some feedback back to you guys. In the meantime, I'd love to hear from you if you've got both of these shoes and which one do you prefer, or do you just have one of them? If you share my thoughts on the Elite or the Alphafly, or if you have different opinions, it would be great to hear from you down in the comments below. That's it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider giving it a like, sharing it with your friends, and of course subscribing to the channel for weekly running content, and I'll see you on the next one.